The program on board is Ask the Ministers of God. Tonight, a very captivating conversation right here on digital discipleship and its effectiveness in the 21st century. I'm being joined by Pastor Boniface Epa and also Minister Beatrice Omboy, helping us to make sense of this particular discussion. Catch us live on our Facebook page, that is MBCI TV, and also on our shortcut platform, that is 23814. Okay, Pastor Boniface,
yes, please.
As we pick up with this particular conversation, so where do you draw the parallels? Where do you draw the distinction for someone now who wants to be able to ensure that when they are using digital discipleship, they become effective? You're looking at digital discipleship versus the traditional way of discipleship.
Okay, when we talk of the digital discipleship, as Beatrice mentioned, first thing you need to understand, what actually are you after as a minister? Because we've seen people getting to social media probably to get the followers and then also earn. Because I'll give you an instance where I was somewhere in a prayer center and there was one man who came. I think probably he's a pastor, I don't know. But when he came there, I listened to him and to what he was doing. He was using the internet. And what he was doing is that he connected online and he began preaching. And after 5 minutes, he was calling for people to give their offering, people to give him the money. So if you get to the digital with such like a mentality, then for sure you are not doing or carrying out the purposes of the Lord. Okay? So when we talk of the digital, God has given us a platform to reach out to many within a very short time, as compared to what used to happen. Because you can only reach a small congregation, right, a very small audience, if you are not embracing digital. Because you have to reach people physically. Okay. Maybe it will require you traveling from one point to another. It will require a lot of resources. It will require a lot of, you have to spend so much. And then also the issue of time. Time is also very key, because we do not have time. So you will realize that you spend too much time, you waste a lot of time, and you use a lot of resources to be able to accomplish very little. But if you are on the digital, you will realize that within a very short time, you can be able to reach out to people, but also make sure that whatever push you have is godly. Anything you are doing is godly. If you are coming there with other agendas, then for sure, you might not be able to get anywhere.
You might not be able to sell through. So are there, Minister Beatrice, just picking up from where Pastor Boniface has left, what's the departure point, therefore, if we were to look at how digital discipleship is supposed to be done, as opposed to the traditional way of discipleship?
Yeah, the traditional way, and I would still say the traditional way was good, because I was brought that way. I'm proud of the way I was brought up in the religion I was in, the ACK. There was such discipleship, as in, even before you're baptized, you really get to understand what is baptism, what is the meaning of baptism. And you get those I call them elementaries, because you must be coming from a place. And I usually say nobody even fell from heaven to earth. Every person has a source. So there is where you came from. So you can't deny the tribal part of it. But then the world is upgrading. So when you just remain, and I'll talk of these parents who tell their children, that teacher of yours just talks to you English, because they want to produce themselves in their children, yet the world is upgrading. And so in this forum we say that like now you find even many Kikuyu children don't understand Kikuyu. And so when you go preaching in Kikuyu, most of them ask, so, because, and they're of that tribe.
Right.
because it's like tribes are fading away, kind of. And so when you concentrate on the tribe, you will accomplish very little, or you'll be not upgrading. Or you'll have a church that, I don't know, everybody when comes, I interact with people, and they tell me, hey, Uko, that church, I went there, I'm interested going to church. Nikienda hapo wanakoroga sana. That's what they usually say.
Yeah.
When you hear a person telling you wanakoroga sana, they're using their vernacular without minding that there are people that are not even understanding. And even the people who are of that tongue, most of them don't understand nowadays. And so for you to reach out to all these people, you have to upgrade. And most of the tribes look at it as Muzungu, Muzungu way. Yeah, and we are not under colonization, but it's time to understand that the world, the way the world is going, even your own children, there are things that we learned when we were children that you can't apply to today's children. And therefore, for you to contain them, for you to go along with them, you have to upgrade and you have to learn, learning, because now you have to learn about these digital things. Again, have you been trained? Because there can also be counterfeits. What is the motive behind? Is it just to say, I have 5,000 followers at the end of the service, yet you cannot even handle their questions? So how good are you knowledgeable in the field? Yeah.
Wow. You know, just before, she just reminded me, because I was a victim when I came to Central the very first time. When I came here, I went to a place and all they used to do is speak what she says, koroga.
The mother tongue.
No, the mother tongue. They used to koroga, and at one point, I felt out of place. And actually, I also left. I think I've left a service, an ongoing service, left a service and walked away. So if they are not ready to evolve with what is happening to the world today, then we are limiting ourselves, and we are also losing so much. Because even think of it today, there are people who don't believe in the Bibles that we have in our gadgets. They'll still want to go to the real Bible, ile ya kitambo, the physical one.
Yes.
Somebody is telling you, kama sio Biblia yangu ile, hii ya simu hii ni fake. So you see, all these things, one, you need to understand. We're actually in a world that is evolving very fast.
Sure.
Otherwise, utaachwa.
That's quite interesting there. So, Pastor Boniface, and I think also Minister Beatrice will come to these. One of the other things that quite a number of people have been highlighting as far as the digital discipleship or even evangelism is concerned, that place of interpersonal relationship. Most people think that there is a way in which that particular touch is lost. If you're to compare it with the traditional way of discipleship. So maybe what do you think can be done to make up for that interrelation or that interpersonal relationship when you're doing this digital discipleship or evangelism for that case?
Okay. Now, what I can say is this. For sure, what we used to do before, that one-on-one touch, like we are here in the studios, it really matters a lot. It means a lot. Because if you're operating from a distant place, one is that this person will not have like that relationship, very close one. But again, we have to understand. She had mentioned it and I mentioned earlier, the content that I have, the motive that I have. If I can be able to give out exactly what I could have given out when we were one-on-one, then that could cover for that relationship. Because today we have people who are connected to people who are very far, but they still do what? They still relate. Think of it. I've had issues where you get not only the youth, because this is not about the youth, it's all about everyone, because you get people will meet on Facebook, they'll begin to chat, they'll get so much connected, and breaking that relationship becomes a problem. And we've seen parents complain. Nowadays, my son or my daughter, ako wapi? kwa simu, and probably they are talking to someone whom they've never met physically. But then that tells you there is always what? A bond. The moment you begin to communicate with someone, something happens. There is always that connection. And the same should also happen when you are discipling. Maybe someone is in Nakuru, someone is maybe abroad, someone is not in Kenya. But the moment he or she goes through the content and begins to follow, some of them will be able to reach you, like one-on-one, because I've seen it happen. Someone is in Tanzania and he wants to reach you. So through that connection, he might not be able to get to come to Kenya, or maybe you will not go to wherever this person is. But through that, the content that you provide, that person will be helped. That relationship, that bond will still be there. Yes, we've bonded with so many other ministers of God, and I'm very sure even in this ministry, people have bonded with the apostle, people have bonded with the reverend, and probably they've never even met one-on-one, but still you can see it is effective.
It is effective.
Yes.
Wow. Absolutely awesome there. So, Minister Beatrice, as maybe you contribute on that. So, the parameters therefore that one needs maybe to put into consideration for them maybe to ensure that there is accountability. If it was maybe in a physical place, or if it was in the physical discipleship or evangelism, maybe one would know the particular church that one comes from, and even maybe the location, the address, maybe even determine the spiritual fathers. Do you still consider the same parameters on the digital
it's good to get
aspect?
to know the biography of somebody, because I am because there was a man that carried a seed. A woman that nurtured the seed, and I appeared.
Yes.
I came to be, so I am because they were.
Sure.
And so even in the normal level, I mostly talk to the youths. Those people who go to buy the horses, they don't just go purchase and buy. They want to know, was the mother running? Was the grandees running? So they are able to tell, what kind of a thing am I purchasing, am I buying? So your ground, where you're coming from, matters a lot. So if the ground you're coming from is stable, it shows you have good roots, and therefore you've come up well. You've been nurtured, and therefore you can nurture. You cannot nurture if you're not nurtured. You cannot be submitted to if you never submitted to anyone. And therefore there are protocols, or there are things you need to understand. Oh, is the father of this girl who is talking on TV sound? You see, is his sound? Is the mother sound? Yeah, and now you can now tell the kind of the contact you get from such a person, because there are people who can really, they don't have the word in them, they study to prove to people, but the character is one thing. You find I'm preaching so well, but when you go to find out, there you find me doing very weird things. So I preach water. All right. So it's very, very important to know the background of a person. Yes.
Thank you so much. I know you're pressed for time, but maybe in 30 seconds, Pastor Boniface. So I know this can be quite contentious, but is there a possibility, therefore, that maybe maybe a preacher, or for that particular case, maybe a man of God, can have a digital church?
Well, it's a bit challenging, but still, yes, you can have a digital church. But what I can say is this: instead of having like a digital church, it's important to have also a physical place where people attend, because people have always thought, I'll always remain in the house, and I'll not be able to do it to get to a church or maybe a physical place to go and. But then, how will you be able to accomplish the other ministries that the Lord has given you? I'm an usher. I'm an intercessor. Probably that can work when you are in a distance, but I'm an usher. I need to go and serve as a praise and worshiper. All these things. These other ministries, where will they be able to come forth if you remain in your house? Because there is what? So it is Possible, yes, people can do it, but this is what I can say. You'd rather have a physical place where you attend church,
Right.
and if you can be able to follow maybe online, at least have a place you attend, because these other ministrations have to carry on. These other administration have to carry on.
Thank you so
Otherwise utajuaje unaimba, utajuaje unafanya kazi ya Mungu kwa upande mwingine. You see, it's quite difficult.
It's
So
quite difficult,
at least
yeah.
you need to have what? A physical place where
Okay.
you
In
attend.
20 seconds.
Yes.
And Wangicho, I also say about the physical contact.
Yes.
We are born again,
Yes.
but none of us met Jesus personally. And it becomes a challenge when you're evangelizing to the children, when you tell them that Christ is saying he's at the door knocking. So when you hear open, and the kid looks back to look whether the door is opening and Christ is coming in. So all of us, we believe in Christ that we never met physically.
Yes.
But you can't remove me from that
Exactly.
Christ is real. So this issue of contact.
So the aspect of faith is also very key
Right.
in digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. What a robust conversation. You want to put it to an end at this particular point. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Wachungaji, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for the insights that you've brought in this very, very important subject, especially during our 21st century. We want to also appreciate you, audio viewer, for making time to be with us and also for participating and for also following up. We'll do it again next week at a time like this on behalf of the entire team that has made this a success. My name is Mangicho Mwala. Have a blessed evening.
Nuggets of Wisdom with Apostle Dan Gishimo.
Don't delay to get to know the Bible better, for it is God's inerrant word to make you wise and spiritually fit.